So in his recent video, Baring was wondering what atrocities Trump has committed, because Kathy Griffin said that he has committed atrocities.
Isn't it Kathy Griffin with an N? And she did indeed.
Stop acting like my little picture is more important than talking about the actual atrocities that the President of the United States is committing.
I go on to ask what specific atrocities Trump has actually committed, because there's none that I know of. Now, going by your video title and description, it appears that you may know of some atrocities that Trump's committed. And if that's the case, well, I'm happy to stand corrected.
Baring was wondering what atrocities Trump has committed, because Kathy Griffin said that he has committed atrocities. And because it's Kathy Griffin saying that, obviously he's not going to believe that it's true, even though it actually is.
Obviously, I'm not going to believe that it's true. Wait, so you think I automatically assume that everything Kathy Griffin says is untrue? Why would I do that? I'll listen to Kathy Griffin with an open mind as I would anyone else. But just as I'd expect from anyone else, Kathy's got to back up the claims that she makes. And she fails to do that. At this point, I'll disregard her claim, just as I would anyone else's. But that's because she failed to back her claim up, not because she's Kathy Griffin.
Yes, Kathy Griffin made a stupid mistake by doing the Trump mask with the ketchup. And by the way, yeah, it's called ketchup. Suck it up. Suck it. Ketchup.
Yeah, that whole thing where I got pissed off about people using the word ketchup instead of tomato sauce, that was a joke. In reality, that's not something that, like, upsets me. It's just a word.
But yeah, just because Kathy Griffin says something doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong, you know?
Yeah, I know, man. Doesn't necessarily mean it's right either. I mean, unless you're one of those listen and believe type people.
Because we kind of live in that world now where people think that, oh, well, this person I don't politically agree with says something, and instead of actually, like, looking it up and doing some, objective reporting and detective work and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with agreeing with someone politically. The burden of proof lies with whoever is making the assertion. Like, if someone told you that God definitely exists, it's not up to you to investigate and prove or disprove that person's claim. It's up to them. They made the claim.
I'm just gonna, assume that she's wrong, but she actually isn't, man. You know, we here in America know exactly what Trump is up to. For instance, cutting the budget of FEMA and having no FEMA administrator. You know, the Coast Guard being cut by 15%. You know, Trump is kind of a dickbag. You know, the whole idea of like, oh, well, we're not going to let transgenders in the military because of money. Listen, if your reasoning not to let people join the military is because of money, you're a bad person! That's it. There's no objective morality here. You're just a bad fucking person, and you don't understand the U.S. military budget.
You don't understand what an atrocity is, do you? An atrocity is an extremely wicked or cruel act, typically one involving physical violence or injury. For example, much of the fighting and many of the atrocities against civilians took place in Bosnia. Meat eaters think it's a joke, but it's not funny to people who believe it's an atrocity to eat murdered animals. It was a brave new world recovering from the atrocities and bleakness of war, and so on. An atrocity is like when Saddam Hussein attacked Kurdish villages with mustard gas in 1988, or in 2014 when ISIS massacred over 1,000 Iraqi Air Force cadets in Tikrit. Cutting the Coast Guard budget by 15% is not an atrocity. Excluding trans people from the military is not an atrocity. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, or the wrong thing to do, but it's definitely not an atrocity.
The whole world, all of our problems could be solved if we just fucking listen to each other and stop being like, well, you're on one side of the political spectrum that I don't agree with. You know what? Sometimes you gotta cross lines to make peace.
You came into this conversation with the assumption that I'd reject anything Kathy Griffin put forward, and instead of, quote, looking it up and doing some objective reporting and detective work, I'd just assume that she's wrong. Remember this?
Instead of actually, like, looking it up and doing some, objective reporting and detective work and stuff like that, I'm just gonna, assume that she's wrong.
So I'm expected to research Trump's political career to the point that I can somehow substantiate Kathy's wild, baseless claims against Trump for her, yet you don't even have to know the meaning of the single word that your entire argument rests upon. Well, I have to say, your newest video is pretty weak, dude. Cheerio.
Recession, session! Give me better times, give me better times. Recession, session! Recession, session. Give me better times, give me better times. Recession, session.
Clowns to the left of me, joggers to the right, and here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Oh yes, I'm stuck in the middle with you, and I don't know what it is I can do. I'm so scared I'm falling out of my chair, and I'm wondering how to get over there. Cucks to the left of me, neo-Nazis to the right, and here I am, just trying to fucking educate you.